Hey everybody, it's Bruce here at WaterBear, and today we're going to be talking about how to make your music pay. And specifically, we're going to look at new ways of gigging online and actually getting paid for it. So right now, we're in the middle of this lockdown situation, and what that's done is leveled the music industry overnight. And it's going to be down to us, the independent artists, to kind of monitor this situation. We're figuring out new ways of doing things, and we're designing the future of the music industry. And right now, everybody's broadcasting, everybody's putting out content, but a few musicians are actually getting paid for it. And that's what we're going to unpick today. You don't actually need a massive audience to make this work. You just need a good quality audience. And we've talked for a long time about this idea of 1,000 superfans being enough to have the basis of a career for a solo artist or even a band. And in line with that DIY independent artist philosophy, we can see lots of new ways of putting on digital performances emerging. Here's one of the most interesting examples from Mike Ross. Mike is a great friend of WaterBear. He's studying on the MA. He's also a qualified counsellor. He helps musicians, but he's also a very interesting artist. He delivers very authentic music, but the way he presents it is super modern. Let's find out how Mike managed to convert a string of cancelled shows into paid digital performances online. It's very clever, it's scalable, and there's no hotels and no travel costs to worry about either. It's genius. Thanks for joining us on Zoom. So can you tell us about this amazing way that you've taken your cancelled shows and turning them into paying online gigs?
Sure, no problem. Yeah, I mean, I use the Zoom app and I connect with existing promoters and agents, a lot of people who I've had cancelled shows with anyway this spring, advertise the shows as converted to digital, converted to virtual shows. Zoom lets you have up to 100 people in the room, so it's full feeling and it's got a good social feel, but they're small enough to still have a personal engagement with everybody. In order to justify the ticket prices, I record every show and then I spend the next day editing them. And I deliver a live album using Bandcamp, so they get a professional result. That's £7 or £10 or whatever, turns into an album that they can hold as an artifact. And that's really the key to this. In a world where everybody's giving stuff away for free, I'm giving you the thing, but we're still making some money out of it, you know.
Amazing. And then do people buy a bit of merch as well?
Yeah, the follow-on sales from merch are good. I don't plug them as much as I probably should, but I've seen on every one of these that I've done, the next day there's been a spike on the web store, people buying T-shirts or vinyls, or, you know, when they go to get my digital download, they buy a CD as well.
So the amazing thing about this model that you're creating here, it's like an extension of the 1,000 superfan. Well, it's a microism. You can do a viable gig for 10 people if they're all buying a ticket, a tenner and a T-shirt.
Exactly.
No hotels.
I lost a lot of money on paper this year, but there were flights to Norway, there were flights to Spain, there were accommodation costs. I'm paying a 3-piece band. So if I strip that back down to me, then I can make as much money as I was making in this time by adopting this model. And at the same time, I'm still using, you know, these Facebook live streams and things to develop a new audience, and then encouraging them to move into this kind of paywall situation on the people that get where I'm coming from.
It's a brilliant way of approaching it. And what's really exciting is I love the fact that it's rootsy, organic, authentic music that gets delivered in this super modern way.
Yeah, that's the juxtaposition.
Yeah. Amazing. Well, thanks for sharing that with us, and good luck, and I'm sure it'll develop into lots of amazing things. So that's amazing. It just shows you can be as creative as you like in the commercial side of what you do as a musician as well. And the genius aspect of what Mike's done there is to provide that live recording with the gig, and that legitimizes that 10 quid ticket. And also people feel good about it, they're getting really good value for money, and they're also probably very likely to buy the T-shirt. So that's what makes this very small audience, even with 10 people, just do the figures. And you can see it makes sense. If you go from 10 to 20 to 50 to 100 and scale the whole thing up, it suddenly becomes very interesting indeed. And best of all, 100% of this income goes directly to the artist. It's all about niche music for niche audiences, and it really works. And what's so powerful about this is no one can stop you doing it. You don't need a record deal. You can already reach your audience. You need a bit of drive, creativity, and just a little bit of talent. So check out these other ways of potentially monetizing your streamed performances online. But don't be limited by this, of course, because the whole point is we're designing new models, new ways of doing things. And it's very exciting time to see where we'll be in a year from now. As always, if music's becoming a very important part of your life and you just can't live without it, well, of course, you can come and study at WaterBear and you can do this type of strategic stuff and work on your music and your production and your songwriting. You can do it day in, day out, and you can study at a master's qualification or a BA honours degree validated by the University of Falmouth, and you can study on-site in the heart of Brighton or online, or a mixture of the two. It's super flexible and it's about taking you from where you are now to where you want to be.